Welcome to Chapter 2 and Week 2 of our Lent journey with Hannah Steele's Living His Story. Each week of Lent, I'm going to be reflecting on my experience of reading the book, chapter by chapter, and you can join us for a group discussion on Thursdays at 1 p.m. on Zoom. Catching up with God has always made me smile. Spotting all the times his spirit has broken through and I hadn't noticed. Once I'd switched stories, I could see that the books I'd read, music I'd loved, movies I'd watched, and places I had seen were all pregnant with God. To re-listen to a song or watch a movie from my teens and to hear God speaking loud and clear was so affirming it made me wonder how I had ever missed him in the first place. So, when Donna Lazenby, a lecturer at my theological college, pointed out that the most popular Disney movie of all time, Frozen, one which I'd watched over and over with my girls, was basically the gospel message encrypted, I realised that my job was simpler than I thought. I had to catch up with what God was already doing. Today, I don't question that God is active and that God is loving, but I'm not sure that I'm always quick enough to recognise him in my day-to-day life. Even though it's completely contrary to what I believe, I don't always credit God where he is due, especially if I'm finding it hard to see him in a situation. This can make me do one of two things: to give up, or to try too hard in my own strength. Both inevitably lead to dead ends. I need to be reminded, as Hannah does remind us in this chapter, that evangelism is defined, directed, energised and accomplished by God. When I understand that the starting point of evangelism is God, that it is always, only and ever because God is love, then I can avoid many of the pitfalls that would befall me and those to whom I'm a witness. Now, I've never been anything but a body surfer, but I feel that evangelism is a bit like catching a wave. I have to read and translate the wave before I can invite others to take it with me. Even though it's the same wave, they might see it and experience it differently to me. Jesus in the Gospels approached each individual he met in a way that spoke distinctly to them. As Christians fixed in a particular tradition of the church, we can get stuck when people don't see things like we do. But if we trust God's initiating, then we can know that we do not invite people alone. If we help them to see and to ride the wave, someone else will accompany them from the beach to the street, and God will provide the rest. God not only provides for those we witness to, but he provides for us in our evangelism too. God gives us what we need if we ask for it. One thing I want us all to feel is a deep and genuine desire to share what we have in Jesus. I want us to be like Peter and John in Acts 4:20, completely unable to stop ourselves from speaking of the love we know of Jesus. Pope Francis, Hannah tells us, expresses this perfectly in his exhortation, Joy of the Gospel, where he says, if we do not feel an intense desire to share this love, we need to pray insistently that he will once more touch our hearts. You see, we can even ask for the love that will be our motivation in evangelism. God provides everything that we need. We can ask him for heightened senses that can become better at seeing the ways that God is already at work. We can ask him for the wisdom to read and interpret the waves. We can ask him for motivating love. And we can know absolutely that even in the most awkward of moments, when we've misread the wave and our intentions have been mixed, that his Spirit will have already broken through, and that we are never, ever alone.